Okay, welcome. So today we're going to be discussing the second video that I pre-recorded this week. It's an experiment on the law of the lever. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to the things I think you can measure and the relationship you can identify with this experiment, and then just go through and do all of the measurements that I do from the video. So we'll go through and look at both of those things. Okay, so let's get going. All right. So we got the video over here. And this is the uneven balance experiment, as we already saw. Now, I want to pause it really quickly because the things I think you can measure is you can measure the distance where you place the weight. So it's either at the orange, the pink, the yellow, the green, or the blue marker. And really, these are equally spaced at 3 inches apart. You might be able to tell that from the meter stick. But, you know, to the left and the right of the pivot. And that is a distance. So from the pivot would be right there. And then you would mark the distance. And that would be the left distance. And then if we were going over the end, that would be the right distance. So those are the two things, D sub L and D sub R. And basically, instead of doing it in inches, and we could do it in inches, like I say, those marks are 3 inches apart. I'm just going to do both of those with the mark number. So first mark, second mark, third mark, fourth mark, and the first mark is the orange, and it proceeds outward from there. Now, the other thing we could basically measure in this was the effective amount of weight put on a mark. So if we had this, you know, we'd have the weight of the right and the weight of the left. So those are the things that we're going to look at: weight of the left and weight of the right. And these two are going to be measured in number of paper clips. Okay. Now, you could measure the mass of the paperclip. I didn't give you the mass or the weight, so there's no real point in that. But basically, that's what I'm going to do. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this table and probably go a little bit below it. I thought I included more rows in this table. Apparently, I didn't. I'm going to use this table and record some of this data. So here we go. And then we'll use the last two columns for some relationships. Okay, so I put one on the second mark. So the distance right would be 2. And I'm going to keep on adding some there. Now, unfortunately, because of the way this works, I need to do it, one at a time. So we need to wait till the end to see how many I add. So it looks like I've added 2 for now, but I think I may add more. So, and the distance on the left is also a 2. So that's what we'll start off with. And then I put a third weight on the right and a second weight on the left. Oh no, there's just 2 on both of them. And then it comes back to even. So we have 2 and 2. Okay, kind of boring. They're all 2s across the middle there, but that's okay. We'll find some. We've got plenty of these coming. So we'll look at all of those. And it does take a bit to see it undone, so I don't want to risk skipping it. I have a feeling it won't go any faster. Okay, so it looks like I'm using 2 for my left distance again, so 2. And again, like I say, we'll want to wait until the end there. It looks like I'm putting more. I'm putting looks like 3 on, and then they slide. So I'll leave it there at 3, and it's quite tilted now. And my right distance now is going to be 1. Alright, so it looks like my left weight is 3. I can change that. I can erase it and come back. But that is the second, I believe, I've put on for the orange. There's the third. Still not quite anywhere near back to level, actually. There's the fourth. And still tilting a fair bit to the left. It's a little difficult to tell if you're not looking at it in person. But there's the fifth. And you might say, okay, that's back to normal. But that's not quite right. I did need that one more, so I needed a 6th in order to get it back to level there. And that was level as we saw it. Now, like I say, it's a little bit difficult to show. And when I put the 7th on, that's when it tilts. So it was 6 that required it to balance there. And again, we got to remove them all. Okay, my left distance this time is 3. And the further out, one of the things you may notice is that the further out I place that first paperclip, the more the balance tilts and the more likely it is to slide. Now you'll notice I did a little bit of a cheat there to do a weight of 3 on the left. So basically what I did is it's a little like a sticky note, and I hung the anchors on the paper clips on the sticky note. Now to do this, it means the distances are a little bit wonky, but my right distance now is going to be 1. And that is the second one I've put on. There's the third one that I've put on. Still nowhere near level. There's the fourth. Coming back, but you'll notice that I'm a little bit short of 3 on the left. I'm a little bit beyond 1 on the right. That's why this is going to be a little bit off. There's the 6th. And I try to change that a little bit now that it's a little bit more balanced. Still tilted. You can see the shadow of my head there. There's 7. There's 8. And another, when I use so many, it's a little difficult to see, it's a little difficult to get them all in the same place. But there's 9, and that is where we actually have a legitimate balance of this thing. And I didn't want to keep going. I think I was running out of paper clips, so I stopped it there. But there were 9 on that side there. And now I think I move away from using 3 on the left side. I just did 2 on the first one. I probably should have just used 2 on all of these there. But then we move up to like 10 there, and you can see it start to tilt to the right once I had more than 9 on the left there. So here we go. Now, I think the next left distance I'm going to use is 4. And the right distance, and I think I just put 2 on there this time. And even putting 2 on there, you can see the whole thing's like sliding, so it's a little bit difficult. And my right distance is just 1. Again, I need to use the hanger to make it work. And I did just put 2 paper clips on the left, so that's 2 on the right, and we'll keep going. We're obviously going to need a lot more than 2. That's 3. That's 4. There's 5. Much closer, getting back to center now. That's 6. You can still see it's pretty tilted. It's actually easier to see further away. But there's 7, and you might say 7's getting really close to being correct. But in order to get it back to what it originally was, you do need that 8th one. So I do think it's clear that you need the 8th one. I do try and reposition just to make sure the weights are all at the same spot. But I do think you need that 8th one. I think at this point it's possible. Then the 9 really tilts it to the right. So it's the 8 on the right that gives us the weights that we need there. So yeah, there's that one. Oh, and then I bumped. You can tell that I bumped the camera there. So that's unfortunate. I think this may be where I actually adjust things a little bit. But my left distance now is 5. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do 2 for my left weight, but I've only done 1. My right distance is going to be 1 for now. And then my second one there. See, I think this is where I start adding them intermittently. 3... And then so there's the 4th. And I guess I do just stick with 1. So, and there is the 5th. So we've got 5 on the right. And if I start adding more, you'll see that it will start to tilt down. And it's there we go. It starts to tilt down and to the right there. So I add a 7th, tilts even more. And you can see that that's what now the levers, the balance is now tilted quite. I even go up to 8 there to show that it's even a little bit higher than that. But there we go. And like I say, I think I am going to run out of space. I think I'm going to need like 3 more in order to do all this. Okay, so my left distance now is 2. And it looks like I'm going to stick with 2 on there for the left weight, but we'll see here in just a second. My right distance is 3. Oh no, I'm not going to stick with 2. So that's kind of close to being balanced, but it's still tilting a little bit to the left. So that's close, but we're going to need a little bit more. Now, that one goes beyond. So when I do a weight of 2 on the right, it goes beyond. So I need to add a 3rd weight back to the left. And when I do that, that is when I get it to be balanced. So 3 on the left, 2 on the right. That's kind of cool. And now I think the pattern will start to get apparent. I add a 4th to the right, it tilts to the right, clearly. I add a 4th to the left. It's still tilted to the right. I think I'm going to add a 5th to the left, and then it tilts back to the left just ever so slightly. And so basically, I think, I think I see what's gonna have to happen here. I add a 4th to the right. And then in order to balance it, I am going to have to add a 6th to the left. So there was a 6 and then a 4 there. So that shouldn't really surprise us. If I double the weight on each side of the balance, it should work out correctly. But you could do 3-2 or 6-4 depending on how that worked out. Okay, so now I'm going, the distance of the left is going to be 5. Oh, I might have, oh, nope, the distance of the right is now going to be 2. There's 2. So 2 and 5 gets me pretty close. I think I'm still slightly tilted to the left, which is why I kept going here. So I add a 3, and that now tilts me to the right. Now, you'll know that if I add another one to the left at that 5th, I am going to tilt back to the left. There's no way of getting around that. But then I can add some more to that position, that second position on the right, and get it to center off and tilt back to the right. So that's what I do. And yep, as predicted, it goes all the way, tilts back to the left. So I add a 4th and a 5th there. And that is what ultimately gets me to level out. So on the left, I had 2 paper clips, and on the right, I had 5 paper clips. And now I think you're going to start to see the pattern be a little bit more clear. It's not as apparent what I was doing the first time, but I think it's going to be a little bit more clear going forward from here. So let's see what the next one is. All right, so we're at 3 on the left. And 4 on the right. And when I do that, somewhat close to being balanced, but clearly a little bit the right favored. When I add the second one to the left, then it's balanced to the left. I add a second one to the right. It clearly balanced, clearly hanging back towards the right now. So I add a third to the left. That is starting to get close, but it's still ever so slightly on the side of the left, which is why I add another one. Okay? And again, the reason why is it is slightly balanced, but it also, we want to see if our pattern repeats, are we going to get the same thing? So I add a third to the right and a fourth to the left, and that is what brings me back to a horizontal balance. And I shift those just a little bit because the weight was a little too far to the right on the right side. But what I have is I have 4 on the left and 3 on the right is what I had there. All right. Go to the next one. This time still 3 on the left. And 5 on the right. There's 2 on the left now, 1 on the right. It's favoring the left now just ever so slightly, so I'm going to need to add another to the right there. And then, it is going to swing back to the right once I do that. That's okay. Because we can add more to the left once that happens. Swings quite a bit to the point where everything falls off, and you can see I had to redo a little bit of the stuff here in order to get that right, because now the balance was rotating around a little bit, so unfortunately it didn't work quite right. But there you go. We're still going to do 3 and 5, and there's 1 and 1. And I think what I opt to do this time is even though it does slightly favor the left, when I add the second one, I think I add a third one. Just so it won't completely swing the thing way out of order when I add a second one to the left. And again, this was almost balanced. Like, it's very, very close. It's just barely favoring the left here. So, oh, no, apparently I don't. I think it would have been smarter for me to add a third to the left before adding a second to the right, but that is what it is. So, that's 2 on the left, and then I finally add a third to the left. The right is still going to be favored now. And I'll add a fourth to the left because the right is still balanced there. And now it tilts back, so it's favoring the left. Okay, weird. So maybe I'll need another one on the right, because I've got 4 on the left, 2 on the right. So it's definitely favoring the left, although it's close to being balanced. Move it back, and now it shifts back towards the right. So now I've got 3 on the right, and I think that makes 5. Yeah, I gotta line these up correctly, but that makes 5 on the left, and you can see even I'm bumping it, and it's not quite right. Oh wait, no, that's actually 6 on the left. Yeah, that is now 5 on the left. Yeah, it looks like I had too many on the left. So that is actually 5 on the left, and 3 on the right, and that is what makes us balance. So a little bit difficult to tell there, but that's 5 on the left, 3 on the right. So I think I might have accidentally put 2 there, and that's what gives us the actual balance. Maybe slightly favoring the right side, but I think that's as close to balance as we're going to get. One of the reasons why these things might not balance completely is the paperclips might have slightly different masses. I think I add a little. I wasn't quite sure about how this was working out. So anyway, I try and level it out there, and that seems to work fine. Oops. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and take it off, and we'll do one last trial, I think. And then I'm going to do 5 on the right, it seems. And I think to balance it, I'll be doing 4 on the left. Or no. Looks like I'm redoing the third one, which is fine. I think, yeah, I this one might have been a mistake. I might have redone the third one twice. We'll actually... Okay. Guess we'll watch this one again. So that's 2 on the left at 3. It's a little bit difficult for me to scroll, and I don't really want to go through it. So that's 2 and now 2. Oh, and then it slides. So yeah, I clearly had some trouble with this version of it. Probably could have cropped this out, but that's no big deal. So if you're trying this one on your own, a good thing you can try is you can try to keep it from tilting too much so the paper clips don't fall off. Or you could carve little notches in the wood to hold the paper clips there, just making sure the thing balances. So there's 3 on the left, 1 on the right. I think I finally kind of got the hang of it. And then I'll put a second one on the right so it won't swing back too much. And that's really close. That's really close to being balanced. I do think it does need a little bit more. So there's 4 on the left now and 2 on the right. And now there's 3 on the right. I think there's 4 on the left. Yeah. There's 3 on the right. And now with 1 more on the left, this should balance it out. At least that's what we had the last time. And there we go. We do see that's one of the better balances we've had. Looks most similar to what we started with there. Okay, so I think the next one is going to be the 4 and 5 one. 4 on the left and 5 on the right. Just let it balance there for a second. I think this was me judging whether or not it was balanced. I think it is. I think from this perspective on the camera, you can kind of see that it is. It's more balanced than the other ones. Like I said, 3 on the left, 2 on the right was pretty close, but just not quite. It wasn't quite right there. So yeah, you can kind of see my shadow judging this from different angles. That's why this one takes so long, unfortunately. And also at this one, you can see it is having a little bit of difficulty finding stability. So as things shift, it's a little hard to tell if it's balanced. I think I was a little bit too meticulous with this one. Like, this is clearly close enough to being balanced that it doesn't need a whole bunch. I think I'm going to add a couple more just to see it get out of balance. So that's adding 1 more to the left. That gets it out of balance. Adding 1 more to the right. That is also going to still be out of balance. So just to show you that the best ratio we had was 5 on the left, 3 on the right. Out of balance again as I go to the left. Although this one's pretty close. Adding 2 on the right, it does shift it just a smidge to the left. Adding 2 on the right, 2 on the left and 1 on the right does shift it a smidge to the left, but it's not too bad. I think I wanted to also double the weights here, so that I think is 8 and 5. So that'll be 9 and 5. And now back that'll be 10 and 5. And I think 10 and 6 is another one here that does get us an even balance. And again, it might be a little bit, it's a little difficult to tell, but trying to get all those things on the mark just to make sure. So 10 and 6 is another option there. for that one. And then I think I finally called it good. I stopped worrying about the whether or not it was balanced and decided to go on to the last one at this point. All right, so yeah, now my right is going to be 5. They put 1 on, and then on the left side it'll be 4. And there's 2 on the left, and again, I don't want to completely get it out of whack. Another option would be to actually like do this with cups that you taped at different points, and then like put pennies in instead of paper clips. That would probably be another option that could work. But there's 2 on each side now, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. And we'll notice that it keeps swinging back. So now 3 on the left, 2 on the right, it's back to the left. If I make it 3 and 3, it's going to swing back to the right because these aren't at the same distances. So, and then that even moved it. So now we'll go to 4 on the left. Oh, sliding. There's the 4th on the left with 3 on the right. And again, still, like, this is close, but I do think it is slightly favoring the left side. Like, it's slightly tilting the left side. Like it's slightly down over here, is my thought. So I'm going to add a 4th to the right side, and then it's way down on the right side. So I'm probably going to need to add 2 to the left side here. So it looks like we have 3 on the left. Or no, 4 on the left. No, there were only 3 there. So 3 on the left, it's still favoring the right side, so I'm going to need to add 1 more after I rearrange the sides, and we can see that even now, ooh, I think I might have added 2 there. Yeah, I did add 2. So so we remove one of these. Try and do it as carefully as possible. And now it's favoring the right side a little bit, but that's because the clips have been moved. So trying to, and then I bump it. So yeah, towards the end there, this was a little bit difficult, but right now that's about as close as it's going to get to balance, and it's going back and forth. Like it's the edges are moving towards and out of the screen, so it's a little bit difficult to tell. But I think that's the best thing we're going to get. We're going to get that we're going to have 5 on the left and 4 on the right, and you can see my hand going in to turn off the screen at this point. Now, as for the analysis, I think there are a couple different ways you could do it. I think the easiest thing is to if you take the distance on the left and multiply by the distance by the weight on the left, and do the same thing with the right. So if we have DL times WL and DR times WR, we're going to see something interesting. So we have 2 times 2 is 4, and then 2 times 2 is 4. And on the next one, 2 times 3 is 6, and then 1 times 6 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9, 1 times 9 is 9. 4 times 2 is 8, 1 times 8 is 8. And then it kind of goes forward from there. So we have 5 and 1 and 5 and 1, that's just 5. And then 2 and 3 is 6, and 2 and 6 is 12, so that would either be 6 and 12. And then 3 and 2 is 6, and 3 and 4 is 12. So basically we're noting that this product, the product between what's on the left, the distance on the left, and the weight on the left is the same as the product that's on the right. And that continues down. We're going to have 10 and 10 here, 2 and 5 both places, 3 and 4 both places, the next one, so they're both 12. Then we're going to have 15 and 30, because we did 5 and 10 for the next one. Same thing, it's, that should have been, or no, sorry, that was wrong. what should I have done there? I should have done, 15 and 30. So 3 times 5 and 3 times 10 is 15 and 30. And then 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 times 6 is 30, so still 15 and 30. And then 4 times 5 is 20, and 5 times 4 is 20. So that is basically what's going on here. And the law of the lever, basically what this is a statement of, it's the law of the lever. I'll try and reduce this. Law of the lever. What this is saying is that the product of the weight and the distance from the pivot is the same on both sides of the uneven balance. I'm going to start writing on the controls, so that's why I tried to squeeze it in. But that's what the law of the lever is basically saying. It's that if you've got both sides of this uneven balance, the product of the distance and the weight on one side will equal the product of the distance and the weight on the other side. Now, you can state this in alternate ways, doing it with ratios, but I think doing it the way with products is a little bit easier because it kind of tells you what, it gives you a sense of what needs to be the same on both sides. And what needs to be the same on both sides is, like, with an even balance, it's just the weights. But with an uneven balance, it's the weight times the distance. So that is going to be it for the law of the lever. I hope you found this explanation and this data collection exercise useful. Thank you for tuning in, and take a look at the rest of the worksheet, and I will see you next time.